Hi friends, happy Wednesday. Hope all of you have had a great day today. And tonight I have a very special guest who has made millions in multiple industries over the years. And his name is Matt Williams. And I feel very fortunate because Matt has been mentoring me consistently, along with Rick Gutman and so many other amazing leaders. And especially in the last couple of months, Matt has just been so great with helping me learn how money actually works and why it's important to diversify what you're doing. So with that, I am going to invite Matt on. So first of all, Matt, I want to thank you for always talking me off the ledge on a daily basis. That's number one.
No problem.
and just for being such a good friend. Throughout this whole process of, building our business through Viseo. And I really wanted to talk to you tonight specifically because you have had so many businesses and all of them have been very successful. And you've had, you have a background in real estate and also in network marketing, and you've owned some companies. So I want to kind of just go into a little bit of a background of your businesses,
Sure.
of what you've been doing and what you're doing now currently.
Okay. All right. So you want to go way back? I mean, to my first set of businesses, or how far do you want me to go back?
Well, wherever you want to
All
start.
right. So I guess it started in 1996 was the first business I started, and that was a technology company. We started doing satellites, Dish Network and DirecTV satellites. Actually, it was 96 is whenever it started, but hold on, my wife just let the dogs out. Hopefully we're okay. Anyway, so back in 1996, 97, we had, I've got a dog jumping on me, I'm sorry. Anyways, we started back then, and then that was a technology company, and then I sold that in 2000 and started in mortgage, and then in 2005 got in real estate. I bought a real estate company, and I've been in real estate ever since. In between there, I've owned a technology company. Also, I've started a recording studio. I'm just trying to remember all the stuff. I mean, there's been all kinds of stuff. So nonprofit organization I was involved in starting, and obviously, and then I got involved in Monavi in 2007, and that's what started my network marketing career, somewhat out of desperation because the real estate market had started falling apart, and I was looking for something to do that I could basically make the kind of same money that I was making in real estate, during the big boom. So that's what got me involved in this industry. Is I ran into Rick, and he was making really good money, and I was out of desperation. I figured, you know what, at the time he was making 12 grand a month. If he can do it, I can do it. And that's I got in and, was able to do very well in this industry and fell in love with it.
Well, and you were extremely against network marketing because you had been approached by so many different people and you said no, and what you said was you didn't think that anybody could really make any money in it, and you are all about making money.
Sure.
I mean, when I tell other people who own businesses that you've owned 12 businesses, 13 businesses, 12 businesses, they're always kind of like, well, how come he's owned so many businesses? And what he couldn't get one to work? And I said, no, I don't think that's the philosophy. So can you go into the philosophy of that a little bit?
Yeah,
and how
absolutely. So, it's like this. If you're a trend follower, and you get involved in a hot trend, and you can start something and make a tremendous amount of money and sell it before it all falls apart, I mean, I think that's a good business move, right? There's people that owned a Blockbuster store that sold before everything fell apart. They saw the trend coming and they saw it going away. And if you followed my career, I'd started out in Dish Network and DirecTV satellites, and that was in the very beginning whenever it was really hot. And I stayed in that business for 5 years, made a tremendous amount of money, but it started becoming a popular thing on everybody's household. More and more people were doing it. So the margins got thinner and things got thinner. So it was time for me to move on to find the next thing that made sense. And that's whenever I moved from there, and then I got into mortgage in 2000, 2002 or something. And so basically following those trends of being able to be involved and be in front of a trend is the way to go. That's truly the way to make this thing happen. And so a few of the businesses, it was more of, get in, build it up, and then I apologize, my dogs. I'm going to go inside now.
It's fine.
So, so basically, it was basically finding, what worked at the time and then went from there. So, I'm thinking that the studio that I bought, I had that. It was more of a hobby. It wasn't really a moneymaker for me. And so that was kind of why I got involved in that. So I'll get myself reorganized. I apologize.
Okay. That's okay.
There.
So, all right. So now that to me sounds like really, really smart. And, to the traditional mindset, I think a lot of people can't fathom that, right? That you have to kind of go through different businesses a lot of times before you really hit that big one.
Sure.
A lot, that really brings in, income for life. So how did Rick approach you with Monavi, and why did you finally decide to say yes to that? Because I know you said the real estate boom had kind of started to dry up and you had lost a little bit with that. Well, you were concerned. You were concerned about how you were going to start making that kind of income.
So, to kind of go back, and I wanted to finish up because I kind of lost my train just real quick. So, I sold my mortgage and real estate company. That was 2 out of the 3 businesses right before everything fell apart. I sold everything and downsized and then started another real estate company, knowing that I couldn't sustain a large staff and all that other stuff, knowing that things were going to fall apart. But then I got involved in Monavi, and I got involved in Monavi because I was looking for that other avenue, and that was really what it came down to. So, I mean, there was if you followed the history, it was all about being at the right place at the right time, and really finding, where the ball was going next, right? Instead of, I was at that part where it was going to be next instead of wondering, right? I was already there before it happened. So that's a big important thing that I wanted to kind of, make understand, because I know this thing got goofed up because of my dog, so I apologize.
It's okay. Well, and with that, I always kind of I listen to you and Rick because both of you seem to really be able to predict things that are going to happen with business, with the economy, with things like that. I mean, everything that Rick has ever predicted, with me, with my business, with people that I've gotten on board, has pretty much come true. And I think that's a talent based on, watching trends and studying people and understanding business and going through both the good times and the bad times with it, so you can kind of gauge where to be and know that it's the right time to be there.
Sure.
So, yeah. So, with that, why did you, I know that, and what really impressed me was that all the leaders from Monavi, a majority of them came back to work in Viseo again. And it's only 20 months old. And a lot of people just signed up before they even knew what the product was because they knew, with the leadership in the business, that it was going to be successful. Right. So did you ever have any kind of doubt in your mind about that? Or
no, not at all. Because I know when somebody's already done something successful once and then they've done it twice, and then their third time they're going to be experts at it. People make mistakes along the way, but I've opened up 3 real estate companies, and I know exactly the hoops to jump through, and I know exactly the paperwork to fill out, and I know how to do it. So there's no question in my mind on all the things that need to take place. I can walk somebody through step by step and make it more efficient, make it better the next time. I can learn from my mistakes, and I think that's really what it comes down to, is when somebody's done something multiple times and done it very well, and Matter of fact, the two other companies he was involved in, he helped get to $1 billion. The first one, the second one, he did take it to $1 billion in sales in a year to year. And there's only been 11 other companies since 2000 that's done that. So when you have a situation as somebody that's already been there, done that, and it's already, if you really pay attention to what's happening, we're already in like 12 countries. Most companies take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years to get in to one or two companies, and now we're into multiple companies or countries. And so what's happening is the fact that we're able to dive into those countries, and our company's able to, you know, really do well with it. It's basically causing growth all the way around. So there's no slowing of anything. You know, there's no major saturation in any area. So we have expansion.
Right. And, you know, I wanted to kind of talk about what you see happening right now with the market and economy. I know in our training the other night, you were all talking about how interest rates are now going up, basically because the economy is doing better.
Yes.
And when that happens, interest rates in real estate, they go up. So what is sort of like, why should people in real estate or in those situations really think about doing network marketing, do you think?
Well,
and getting into
it's a natural progression because in order to be a good real estate agent, you're building a network of clients, right? I've used an analogy in the past that, you know, if you have a network of 50 people that you've sold houses to, and you stay in contact with them, and they refer business to you, you should be an endless supply. You should constantly have stuff going on, and that's the ultimate goal of a real estate agent, you know, is referral business, right? It's that referral base. And so it's a natural feeling to go out and service a customer and have them send you people. But the difference is in real estate, when somebody sends us somebody, we can't do anything about it but say thank you, right? Maybe take them to Starbucks, and that's about it, you know, because there's laws against, you know, giving money. So what we can do is we can just be good at what we do in our services, but that's beyond that. But in network marketing, you can actually get them involved, and then they make money when they refer people, and now you both make money. So it's like a situation where everybody's winning, and there are no walls, there's no territory, and there's no boundaries, and not a license needed, and all the other things that, you know, from real estate standpoint. So it's a really powerful tool. I mean, it's really lined up absolutely perfect for real estate agents, mortgage people to do it, because they already are doing it. They're already setting up their clientele base and their referral base.
Absolutely. And just to show that, when you got into Monavi, you built a $500,000 a year business in 138 days because you leveraged your network.
Yes.
So I want you to, when you bring a realtor into this business, what is it that you tell them to do first thing?
Well,
especially if you're a successful realtor.
Right. So I think like anything else, there's always a learning curve, but there's not much, right? Because like I said in the past, that, you know, you're already used to building that network. So basically my first thing is have an understanding of the overall company and what it can do for you. And then basically make a list of the people that you would like to bless, and then go out and start to build. And we work together, and we build together, and we grow together. And that's really what it is. It's a relationship. It's a partnership. So there's not anything that I particularly go, okay, do this, do this, do this. I'm doing it with them. You know, I'm doing it with them until they can do it by themselves.
Right. And when you built your business, what were your steps that you took to grow that really fast?
Well,
in 138
honestly,
days?
I didn't know what I was doing. I applied basic business principles. And it was more of like, I have a mortgage payment due, and I don't have any closings. So that was really what was my motivation. You know, I felt like the bills were behind me and chasing me down. So I was just going out, and the timing factor of it is, there was a lot of the real estate agents were in the same feeling. They were used to making a lot of money, and that money started drying up, and then they started becoming, you know, more and more excited about maybe having an opportunity to go out and leverage their network. So that was the reason for the fast build. And the reason why I think it went so quickly, because I was able to leverage, you know, a network that had networks that had networks that had networks. And
Mm-hmm.
That's the power behind this business is, you know, you get a few people, they get a few people, they get a few people. Next thing you know, you've got a massive network all around a global network.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing.
Yes.
And even with this passive income that, you know, you can build if you're in a legacy company like we are, if you can build that over time and it continues to cash flow, what do you recommend people do with that? I mean, I know what you're going to do. You're going to keep doing real estate with the money that you make here, right?
Yeah. So the beautiful thing is what I did is the money that I made with Monavi, I was able to catch the next trend, and I got into flipping houses. Right. So I was able. It
Mm-hmm.
was a springboard for me to go out and get into that trend, and I made another
Mm-hmm.
tremendous amount of money doing that. So you know, it's a matter of the springboard. But I believe that every billionaire, I don't believe it, I know it, every billionaire has multiple streams of income. And they don't just take one
Mm-hmm.
source, right? So when one starts slowing down, the next one starts speeding up because they're usually offset each other. What I love about this industry is the health industry is not going away, it's growing. So we're $1 trillion in sales and growing year to year. More people are
Mm-hmm.
wanting to look better, feel better, and they're willing to pay for it. So when you've got products that are solution-based products and
Mm-hmm.
they're unique and different, and there's nothing else like it, then it's a gold mine. And that's what we have. But to answer that other question that you asked me is, what am I going to do? I'm going to diversify.
Mm-hmm.
I think diversification is the key. You know, always be looking for, you know, where to place that money to make more. And I'm a believer in making sure that, you know, finding safe places that you know, can draw multiple streams of income, and I don't have to work
Mm-hmm.
hard for it. That's the key right there, because, you know, working smarter, not harder, is kind of my philosophy. And I used to work a lot harder than I do now. And it's, you know, you can't keep that up. I'm getting old.
Well, I'm not going to touch that because you're not old, but because then I'll be like, Matt,
I know. I'm
you're
just.
that old. I mean, I'm not that far behind you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, and I think the thing is that people really don't understand. I made a post this morning about the whole what you need in your savings, or what you need to have for retirement in order to actually retire at 67, so that you can have a fixed rate of $2,500 per month if that's what your expenses are. It just depends what your expenses are. But you need to have 1.7 million in the bank to live and have $2,500 per month from age 67 to age 90. And when Rick was going over that the other night, I just thought, I know that people are not thinking about that.
Well, that doesn't even take in consideration of inflation. So, I
well,
mean, you know, you figure you have an inflation situation, and $2,500 or 10,000 or whatever that dollar amount is, you know, if you have that, your inflation is it's not going to be able to keep up, and that's the problem we have. Is when inflation, you know, rises up. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but you know, where we used to be able to have lunch for X is now double. And I know
yeah.
here in California, you know, I was thinking that today. I'm thinking, you know, normally I used to take, you know, $10 would cover lunch and then and a tip. Now it's, you know, $15 or $20. So it's just crazy. And that's just a normal lunch. That's nothing's, you know, fancy. So, you know, it comes down to, you have inflation factors. You have a lot of different factors that we have to take in consideration. So that's what I love about being able to tap in to a global network like what we've done. And I've already got, I think, 4 different countries of people in my business, and it's growing. And I'm not sure what you have, but we're in the same network, but I don't know if you have anybody international.
I've got 3.
Oh, 3. That's
3
right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I got somebody in Australia. I think I have someone in Canada.
Okay.
So
yeah. So and
that
cool.
That
makes it more powerful too, because you know, when we're sleeping, they're working, and when we're awake, they're sleeping, and we're helping each other, and that's a very powerful thing.
Yeah, definitely. So why do you think that network marketing is sort of like the wave of the future? I know that people don't want to really see what this is, but everything is moving more online, and also people in general, businesses, 80% now are run by a network marketing model. Amazon, Uber, Airbnb, they run similar to this,
Sure.
right? So what do you see happening following that trend in different businesses, and why do you think that people need to kind of tap into this or at least learn about it now?
So the companies that are making all the money are solution-based companies, like Uber, for instance. That was a hole that needed to be filled. You know, we didn't have a way to call a taxi cab and explain exactly where we were. You know, now we just pull up our app and they're able to be there in minutes, right? And the taxi cab companies didn't know how to fulfill that, and Uber did. And they've also taken a model to where it's very streamlined and cost effective. They didn't have to go out and buy, you know, a bunch of cars. So the costs are down. I mean, if you take a taxi cab versus an Uber ride, it's half Uber ride, right? And so it's a solution based. Amazon, you know, they realized the biggest problem with ordering online, it takes forever to get to you. Well, they've shortened that up. That's the reason why they have become the hottest company in the world right now, because they realize that it's a now society, and if we can get stuff that same day off of an order, or the next day, or maybe 2 days out, people are willing to wait versus going to the store. And anybody that's willing to offer a solution based or products that are solution based are going to win. And so that's exactly, we're right in the middle of that solution. We have a product that's they all are fulfilling a massive problem, a solution-based product, and then they get delivered to you, so that's hassle-free. And then you can set up an auto ship, or a monthly, you know, delivery, and it can get shipped directly to you. You're not having to go out and fulfill it. So these are the things that are causing companies like ours to explode, because we're right in the middle of what's happening. And that right there it's exciting, because when you're in a solution-based business and fulfilling, you know, the problems, it's just gonna be massive growth from here on out.
Yeah. Well, you said this reminds you a lot of the same time of when you got into Mona V. So what are some of the similarities between that time being a part of that trend and right now?
So I got into Mona V in its third year, and that's usually a momentum phase for a company. If it makes it past its first year, second year is the building. That's where we're at right now. We're in the building phase, and then the third year is usually a momentum phase. And I got involved in the third year, but the difference was it was a third year, and then there was a housing crisis going on, and so there's a lot of people looking for work. I don't feel like we're going to have a housing crisis. I think we're going to have a housing shift. I think that we're going to see the way things are done in real estate different. It's going to, I think, change through technology. So we're going to see a little bit of that going on, and then we're going to have the raising of the rates. So we're not going to have like some crash in real estate, but I think we're going to have an adjustment. So what that's going to do, if there's maybe not as many homes to sell, we're going to have people looking for extra income, other sources of income. And then the other thing too is it's become very acceptable have multiple jobs. Like a lot of people do Uber in the afternoon or evening, you know, and they are looking for extra cash. The difference is what I like about what we're doing for extra cash is we're not having to have people that crawl in our car after a party, if you know what I mean, and then you're having to clean up the mess. So the point is you know, we have a situation where we can build and we can move and go anywhere, and our business follows us.
Yeah, and we can globalize. So, you know, that whole idea of even small businesses being able to globalize what they're doing, people just thinking bigger. You know, they have the business sense and they understand what a system is, and a lot of times they are the system. So this is why it's really attractive to those people as well, is that they can have that additional stream of income, passive income coming in, and they can reach out globally. So now they're just not a local business, they can be a global business.
Absolutely. And if you have a town, for instance, that has a main source of business, and that business goes out, the main source of business, or they have a seasonal business, like where you're at right now, right? I mean, you're in the off season where you live, right? And so that's usually when everybody's taking vacations and you know, changing and doing whatever they need to do. But our business never takes a rest. That's what I love about it. You can take a rest when you decide to rest, but there is no season for it, right? I mean, it goes 24/7, 7 days a week. And when you aren't working, somebody else in your downline, you have one person in your business with you, they're working. If you have 100 people, or if you have 2,000 or 10,000, everybody's working, and we're all trying to accomplish the same goal.
Yeah. So last question I have for you is, why do you think that what we do in Overcome Nation, our business school, and our team basically is really critical for success, for network marketers to be successful? I know for me, it's just a completely different way of looking at it. And I was in a different company, and I was successful there for 4 years. But then when I was just open my eyes, it was almost like my eyes were open to bigger, that I knew that my business could obviously grow and go into different countries in my previous company. But this is just a whole different approach. So what do you see that we have that other teams, even in our company and other network marketing companies, do not have? And I guess I do have another post note to that too. With certain companies who make changes as they go along, how do you think that can adversely affect the distributors?
Okay, so let me answer the Overcome Nation, and then I'll go back to that, the other question.
Yeah.
I think that's an important one to leave off on. So the Overcome Nation business school, and the what I love about that is it's a real place where real people are discussing real problems and being able to solve real problems, and giving people the roadmap and the ability to thrive, and the ability to see what's coming ahead. Because it's like this, if you have a mentor, if you paid for a mentor and they have knowledge of, let's just say, an area you're going into business, it would make way more sense to pay for somebody to offer their thoughts and their skills and their ability than you to try to learn it on your own, right? You'll get there a lot faster. Like, for instance, if I took somebody that got their real estate license, and they just got their real estate license and no one talked to them, they'd have to try to spend hours and hours and hours to find out what form to fill out to even write an offer, right? They're going to spend hours and hours and do it wrong. Versus if I sat down with them, because I've written, I don't know how many, and I sat down and I went through each one of the steps, they're going to get there a lot faster. They're going to get that offer accepted much faster. They're going to get to the end result faster. And that's what I love about Overcome Nation. That's really the goal, is to give people roadmaps and the ability to help them get to where they need to go. The confidence, there's a great culture of people, and we can connect with other people from all over the place. So for instance, if we've got people in your neighborhood, but they aren't necessarily in your business, but they are having a training or a presentation, we can connect up. And so that allows more people to work together and to thrive. The other thing I think with Overcome Nation is, honestly, anything in life, whenever if you have some people telling you no, or there's frustrations, when you see other people saying that's okay and this is how to get through it and this is how to work through it, it's going to help you succeed way better. Now you know you're not alone and you're growing, and that's just anything. Any good business person, any big CEO is going to have a mentor that's going to help guide them, because there's nothing worse than being by yourself.
Oh yeah, it's true.
And that's really what Overcome Nation is. It's basically a free mentorship program that's going to help you in life and in business.
Oh, absolutely. And it's helped me a lot. I mean, just thinking about the future and thinking about things very differently than I did before. You think you know something, but you really don't know everything until you're forced to level up, and that's kind of how I feel. I feel like we've leveled up. And I didn't even see it before with my other company, that it was sort of, I mean, you could see it financially, that I wasn't moving forward. I could see that, but I couldn't see the reason of why. And just being exposed to this extremely eye-opening.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
To see why it wasn't working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So, and the other question that you asked me,
Because we've talked about this other question a lot,
yeah.
you know,
So basically, why don't you re-ask it a little bit, just in case somebody misses it, and I want to really elaborate on that.
Yes. Well, you and I have had discussions about when companies change compensation plans, or when they change structures, or they, you know, a lot of times as the distributor, you want to trust that company because you've done well, and you want to believe that all the changes that they're making are for the betterment of the distributors and the betterment of the company as a whole. Because especially when you're in a culture like that, you know, you are very emotionally involved, right? So when you're doing so well for so long, and then the leadership starts to make different decisions, sometimes it can be very difficult for people to have that faith and that trust, especially when they see their income dropping, or they just feel like they're at the same spot and they can't move forward. I mean, I always thought that, you know, when my company was making changes, it was obviously for the betterment and to kind of, you know, like improve and stay up with the times. But from all the things that I'm learning here, the more that you stay true to your word and keep that stability of what's working is working, kind of helps. So what are your thoughts on that? When if people are kind of like, oh my gosh, you know, they made another change, you know, how's this going to affect us?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a massive effect, and it's not just in this industry, right? It's in any business. Right. And that's why it's important to have the right person at the helm, the right person that understands, you know, how to basically do business, and how to motivate and how to keep people moving in the right direction. So there are companies out there currently, and I don't need to name names. If you might be in one of them, but if you can check a couple boxes that, you know, your comp plan or your company has made some changes to make it harder for you to make money, they're going in the wrong direction. It's real simple. There's no way to sugarcoat it. You're definitely going in the wrong direction. You need to have a distributor friendly CEO ownership, and they need to be thinking of you first. And if they're thinking of you first, then they're going to make the right moves for you first, right? And then that way you can thrive. You know, obviously as a CEO, you're going to have to think of the bottom line, but there won't be any bottom line left if you don't have a distributor out pushing the sales. So I think it's a major problem in this industry. Companies ramp up, they start making a lot of money, and they start getting greedier, and they start changing, they start being a competitor of yours. And the worst thing you can do is compete against your own company. Matter of fact, it's near impossible, because they can change the rules as they go. You can't. So, and that's what makes it sad for me to see a lot of these other companies out there that people have been very loyal, and there's some wonderful companies out there, very, very loyal, and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled from underneath them, and they're still trying to stay loyal. And unfortunately, it's an impossible task. It's like swimming up a river, you know, against the current. It's eventually you're going to tire out, and you're going to quit, and then you're just going to float down, right? So at what's happening, and what I see is people aren't realizing it soon enough, while they still have a network left, right? And this is a very, very important piece, right? I mean, we have to stay true to us and our family, and they will burn their network out, because some people below them or in their business will see it before they do, and they'll hold on and hold on and hold on, and eventually it's too late. So if you find yourself in a situation where your current situation is basically you feel like you're swimming upstream, you may want to take a look at some other stuff, and I mean, look at what we have to offer.
Yeah, it is. It's totally different, because I know our company is completely network marketing based, in terms of, you know, we were never direct from the get-go, and the leaders are experienced in network marketing as a business and as an industry. So it's a little more difficult when other companies have been direct, and then they brought in the network marketing piece, right? Because now they have two ways of going about selling, and it's sort of like, if the network marketing takes off, great. But what it comes down to, like you said, is the bottom line.
Yeah.
If they're making money going direct more so than the distributors, are they going to stay loyal to their distributors? And you would love to think that, because the culture, and you're so emotionally attached and all of that, because I was extremely emotionally attached to my company. But luckily, I mean, I never really viewed that as my individual problem, but now being away from it and taking a look into how it's working out, from the outside, I really, I see people struggling in their businesses, and I see, top leaders. You would always think, well, why would they leave? They built such great businesses. Why would they leave it? But they saw something ahead, right? Like, they saw something coming, and they had the foresight to get out and start again. So, yeah. So, I mean, and staying a little too long is harming both you and the downline as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
because a lot of people in this industry depend on you as their mentor. And, if you're not able to help them see or show them what you see, or you have more knowledge of this industry, it's not fair. And like anything else, every business evolves and every business changes. I mean, if you look at the pagers used to be huge, right? Who has pagers these days, right? I mean, I can go through scenario after scenario. I mean, you wouldn't want to own a record store. You're not going to sell as many records as you were back in, whenever records were available, right? And it's like
even CDs.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, exactly. I have a whole closet full of DVDs, and who even needs them anymore, right? Because we have on-demand TV. And so as things change and as things move, and there's constant, movement in the way business is done and the way technology is and the way everything is, there's got to be constant movement. Unfortunately, we don't live in a society anymore that people stay at their jobs 40, 50 years and get a gold watch. That's not the way things work anymore. I mean, some people could say that's really sad. Some people have done that, but I promise you, this new generation is going to follow the trends, and that won't be there. I mean, we just won't have that.
And that's what I love too, is that we're learning how to diversify so that when that next trend comes, we'll be in a spot where we have other methods or other streams of income coming in. Because I know when I make a lot of money with my business, I'm going to make smarter decisions of, okay, where do I put this to bring in more income from different sources? So that way, if one of them, like you said, if one of them needs to, change in some way, if one starts to go down because of the trend, then you have that to kind of fall back on.
Absolutely.
So I think that's so smart. And I think that, so many people get into network marketing and they make so much money, but then they don't plan ahead. They think it's just going to be like that forever.
Sure.
And they have that one way of income, and they're not, investing then in other sources of income, so that if they do need to make that switch down the road, if the company closes, if the company makes major changes, they're not really prepared for it. Right. So I love that we're learning here. Yeah, we're learning here, not just about how to succeed in Viseo, but how to succeed past that as well. And that's what I think is so different from anything else that's out there.
And you can apply it to daily life, daily business, everything. So yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
You got
tonight,
it. Thank
Matt.
you. It was a pleasure.
Okay.
Right.
And I'm sure I'll be talking to you.
Oh, I have a feeling I will talk to you. Take care.
All right. See ya. Bye-bye.